Hello and welcome to this little YouTube video. I am Kezia Hall. I'm a holistic health coach over at supernaturallyhealthy.org, and today I just want to help you and talk through a bit more about the GAPS diet and how to even start the GAPS diet. Where do you begin? What do you eat? And how to kind of prepare yourself for going on into that kind of real healing protocol. And just for a bit of background information, I went on the GAPS diet about 2 years ago and was on it for about a year to really help with some digestive problems, just some real gut healing and some issues that were going on for the whole of my life that I just wanted to sort out, and the GAPS diet was a really key part of doing it. It wasn't the whole answer for me. I had to learn to listen to my body and incorporate other healing things as well, but it definitely made a massive difference, so I love chatting about it. And for those of you that don't know, the GAPS diet is short for the Gut and Psychology Syndrome diet, and it is kind of created and talked about by Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride, and so I really recommend that you get her book on this. It's really in-depth information. What I'm going to talk about today is just some kind of brief kind of overviews of it to kind of help you get on your way and get prepared and figure out if the GAPS diet is really for you. But if you don't have this book, recommend that you get it. And she goes into a lot of detail about the biology behind it and the reasons and the science behind it all, which is really interesting if you're into all that stuff. But today, how do you begin on the GAPS diet? Well, as a health coach, I often work with people with various different digestive issues, autoimmune problems, ranging from small, just eczema, things like that, to potentially more chronic issues. And I've found the principles within this GAPS diet, which is also similar to the specific carbohydrate diet, which you might have heard of, or the autoimmune protocol. So there's all these different healing diets, but a lot of the broad principles of these diets are the same in terms of helping the body heal. And so how do you begin the GAPS diet? How do you start? Often if you maybe have a child that's autistic, that's, why lots of people come to this and it can have amazing results, or maybe it's for your own health reasons. Actually, sometimes reading that GAPS book and thinking, well, what the heck do I eat, can seem a bit overwhelming. So here are a couple of my 3 kind of top tips for preparing you to begin the GAPS diet. And the first one is, before you even begin to implement the intro diet, before you even think about going on the GAPS diet, I completely recommend that you go gluten-free. If you're not already, this is a really good first step to help you prepare for the GAPS diet. And because the GAPS diet is about being grain-free, so that's removing all rice, all flour, all sorts of grains and carbohydrates. And actually, it's really good if you can just get used to and be in the habit of cooking gluten-free, planning your meals gluten-free, get used to eating that when you're out. All that sort of stuff will really, really help you as you begin the GAPS diet. So that's number 1, go gluten-free. And when you feel like you can manage that, when you're in the habit of being gluten-free, then you're ready to start the GAPS diet. The second tip for getting prepared for how to begin the GAPS diet is to ditch the processed foods. Now, chances are, if you have looked into the GAPS diet and you're looking at alternative approaches to healing your body, then you're not going to be a massive processed food fan. But if there is lingering kind of attachments to various processed foods, I completely recommend, before beginning the GAPS diet, that you just get rid of them from your diet, just to make it easier for you for that transition. I know lots of people that have tried the GAPS diet and then have maybe stuck at it for maybe about a week or 2 because they just couldn't hack how extreme it was. And so it's really important that you prepare for it, because you know what, we want to set ourselves up to succeed and not to fail. And I think that's really important, and that's a message I talk to all the time with my clients. Actually, let's set ourselves up to success, and making small sustainable changes are the best way for permanent life and gut change. So that's number 2. Make sure you kind of ditch the processed food, the refined sugars, all that sort of stuff. And that, once you've done these 2 things, if you're living completely gluten-free and you're in the habit of doing that and you know what to eat, if you're ditching the processed foods, then you're definitely on your way to starting the GAPS diet. And the next thing is plan. I completely think healing protocols like GAPS or AIP or SCD or whatever healing protocol you're going on, they're one of the main kind of foundations for their success is planning. I know it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but I know for me, from transitioning to the GAPS diet, it was all about planning, making sure I had food in the house, stuff in the freezer, the shop was done, the meals were planned, I had packed lunches, I had snacks in my bag. And so another tip is, if you feel like your meal planning and everything is a bit chaotic right now, I'd really recommend you get a hold of that and are really able to plan your meals and have food in it, and you're just on top of that, that doesn't stress you out, that's just a habit you've created, then that would be a really, really helpful thing to do. So just to recap, the 3 steps before even thinking about going on the GAPS diet would be going gluten-free, ditching processed foods, and learning how to plan and prepare your meals, your shopping, your eating really, really well. And then that will just help so much in the transition to the GAPS and the Gut and Psychology Syndrome diet. And so now hopefully you'll be at that point where you're thinking, okay, I'm going to take the plunge, I'm going to give it a go. And it's looking now a bit like how to begin and what do you even eat. And again, I completely recommend that you get the book if you're really wanting to go forward with this diet. Then this is a fantastic resource. It's also got loads of recipes in. But in terms of what to begin, you want to start off with an intro diet. So I would really recommend for that you plan a period of time that is not going to be busy, it's not crazy hectic, you're not going out for meals all the time. And the intro diet, how long we do that is really dependent on our own symptoms and our own bodies. So I did the intro diet in a week because my symptoms weren't that chronic or acute, but I know people that are maybe suffering with much more chronic autoimmune issues, things like maybe arthritis, diverticulitis, Crohn's, all that kind of thing, can actually spend months on the intro diet. So it really does depend on your symptoms, and that's why I would really recommend, if you are wanting to do this GAPS diet, is that you really do it with a holistic practitioner, a GAPS practitioner, a nutritionist, a health coach like myself, just someone to guide you through it and really help you to listen to your body, because it really, really helps, because we're all really different and our bodies all really need different things. So I'd really recommend that you find someone to walk you through this and to really help you, support you through this diet, so that you can be as supported as you can and get the best results. But the intro diet can be around a week to several months, again depending on your symptoms, and it's mainly focusing on bone broth. So in terms of preparing for the GAPS diet, I would really recommend you get used to making bone broth and you have a freezer full of bone broth, because it involves a lot of that. It involves lots of well-cooked vegetables, but not too fibrous to begin with, things like carrots and onions that have been cooked for a really long time, and then eventually you can introduce things like eggs, almonds that have been soaked and dehydrated, more vegetables, bits of carrot juice, and then moving on to things like dairy with ghee and some kefir and all that kind of stuff. So it really is a gradual program, and a lot of the more detail of what you eat is in the book and can be found on the GAPS website and things. So it's really important with this, I found for me, that actually it's really important that you listen to your own body with this. You know, in the book is quite a formulaic kind of run through of it all, but we're all really different, and it's really worth, through this intro period, I recommend with all of my clients that they keep a food and mood diary. And now this isn't just I ate this, I ate this. This is about how you're feeling, your symptoms, what you ate, your energy levels, you know, all that kind of thing, and actually keeping that through so you'll know actually when you're reacting to something. I found in the book, Natasha talks about doing kind of allergy tests on the skin, so taking a sample of food, putting it on your skin and putting a plaster over it. I've never really found that effective for me, and that could just be because my symptoms weren't that acute and my body wasn't in massive amounts of inflammation. But I found keeping a food diary really helpful. So it could be like, oh, I've had diarrhea today. Why is that? Oh, actually this morning I had lots of eggs and I've not eaten a lot of eggs yet. Or actually yesterday I ate loads of nuts. Okay, that could be why. Or today I had spinach uncooked, I had raw spinach. Okay, that's upset my stomach or caused an outbreak or whatever it is. So keeping a food and mood diary is really, really key to that. And that will really help you to listen to your body, because that's a really key part of this. Actually, we're all different, and the Gut and Psychology Syndrome diet is great. We've got great healing principles, but you've got to mould it slightly to your own symptoms, your own circumstances, and what your body needs individual, because we're all really, really different. So I really recommend you keeping a food and mood diary with that. I really recommend you having a practitioner or a health coach or a nutritionist walk in that process through with you to help, because it just makes a massive difference. And also those whole being prepared factors before you even begin, of going gluten-free, ditching processed foods, and learning to plan your meals really, really well. And then hopefully as you begin the intro diet and you start to feel better, you can move on to the full GAPS diet. But that's a whole other video within itself. So make sure you get gluten-free, you ditch processed foods, you plan stuff, and that you start to keep a kind of food and mood diary to really help you with this whole journey that you're on with GAPS. And if you have any questions, then head over to my website, supernaturallyhealthy.org. I'm really happy to do a free consultation with you, or leave comments below and just let me know how you're getting on with GAPS, and is there any other information, is there any other questions that you have about the GAPS diet or the SCD diet or the AIP, then I'm really, really happy to answer them. But thanks for joining me. Bye!